ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa will today address the party's elections thank you event in Soweto. Now, the purpose of the event is to thank its staff members, volunteers and communities for exercising their democratic right by participating in the 2021 local government elections. Now, the party says it never takes the support that it receives from the people for granted. For more on this, I'm joined by Pelane Phakgadi, who is out in Soweto for us today. Pelane, a very good afternoon to you. What is to be expected from President of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa?
Not only from the President of the African National Congress do we expect expectations, Tammy. We do expect that the national officials, if not all of them, but some of them, will be present here at the UJ Soweto campus to give thanks to the officials, the staff members and the volunteers of the African National Congress towards the local government elections, and of course to thank them for being able to persuade some people to vote in favor of the ANC. Now, you do know that the 30%, it so seems, was the turnout for the elections this time around, and just 12 million people out of the 30 million plus who were registered to vote or eligible to vote really did cast their votes. So we do know that the NEC and of the African National Congress, and including other political parties, have been during the weekend logged in the meetings to try and negotiate themselves as to how are they going to be dealing with the impasse of over 60 municipalities that remain hung. And we do know that the Democratic Alliance's John Steenhuisen did say that he will not be working with the EFF nor with the African National Congress. It will be very much interesting to hear from the officials and as well as the president of the ANC on how do they foresee the future in municipalities such as Ekurhule and Johannesburg and as well as Tshwane. Although they may be the majority parties as far as the votes cast is concerned, they will need a 50% plus one and in order to be able to constitute council, and in order to get to that 50% plus one, they need to do decision making with other political parties. We do know that the EFF did say that they are willing to work with anybody who comes to them, but there are some sort of elements that they need now to take a look at if they're going to be looking for the help of the EFF. Some of them, of course, uncontested from the EFF, the issues around land, which have been very much the thorny issue. So here we are expecting that the ANC president, Cyril Ramaphosa, will be addressing some councillors. I've already seen councillors who are now successful. They are councillor-elect and will be waiting for the formal constitution of council for them to be recognized formally by their designated municipalities. But I think very much importantly is that we're going to be waiting for an interaction with the media as well as the stakeholders. In their media alert, the ANC did say that there'll be an opportunity for us to discuss about that. And I think it will be important to hear what the outcomes of the National Executive Committee are. We do know that there have been meetings since yesterday. What are those elements? What is it that they talked about in particular in relations to coalition, and how are they going to be going about in some municipalities? They may even have to accept being in the opposition benches going on forward to 2026. But in those municipalities where they can, who will they be working with? Are there conditions? And those are some of the elements I believe that the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa will have to address not only the nation here about as far as the supporters is concerned, but as well as the people here, some of the councillor-elects who will be willing to listen as to how they should go about in the different councils that they will be leading in. Tammy?
Pelane, what has been the general atmosphere and disposition that you've noticed? The African National Congress are finding themselves in rather uncharted waters and territories for them even thinking about, having coalition discussions with other parties is really a first.
Look, it is quite a predicament for the ANC. Let's just take KZN for an example. Before 2004, they never really had local government they had very few municipalities until 2004 in that particular side of the country, and they began gaining momentum from 49% to about 62% in 2009 and 2011, and then they moved on to be quite strong in 2016. But it so seems that the IFP has managed to grasp grasp their previous power back all the way in 2004, what they used to have in that area. The Democratic Alliance also making inroads in some particular parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Limpopo, similarly the same concerns that you've seen, the Democratic Alliance remaining quite strong. The Freedom Front Plus, very much interestingly, coming through to get some more votes there, meaning that a lot of councils now have to come through on the decision of how the African National Congress, as a majority party, although below 50%, have to work with minority parties in order to constitute council. Now, they find themselves in a predicament because the DA has already announced that they will not be working with them. And we know that the Freedom Front Plus has also announced that they will not be working with them. There are conditions to be working with the EFF. Julius Malema have already outlined clearly on how they feel that whoever who comes to them should be able to work with them. Interestingly, here in the city of Johannesburg, we do know that Action SA's Herman Mashaba also has some conditions and very famously said, "Don't call me, I'll call you," back there in the Rock. I think that is a scene that we will have to be looking at, because looking at the city of Johannesburg, how it was hung back in 2016, where the Democratic Alliance, through him, gained the power, and of course, shortly after himself and Mmusi Maimane unceremoniously left the Democratic Alliance. Then it went back to the ANC through minority governance as well. The IFP very much involved as far as that is concerned. But the dynamics have changed. They say that it so seems that the ANC has betrayed them in quite a number of items. So that will be very much interesting to see how, if at all, they will be able to deal with their differences. How are they going to constitute council? Council has to be constituted one way or another. Who's going to reach a compromise and how so? It is within 7 days from the elections results being declared that we expect that the councils will begin to constitute themselves. So perhaps later on this week, some councils will be sitting and will be able to give an indication as to those hung councils where the ANC have to go and talk to some opposition parties to try and bring about a 50+1 is concerned. How are they going, or will they have to settle for opposition benches?
Pelane, Phakgadi, thank you very much for that update. We'll be keeping abreast of developments there on the ground. And one thing for certain is, yes, coalition conversations have happened before, but certainly not to the scale that we are seeing now regarding the ruling party.